When did this mess start, Casey?
Well, that depends on who you talk to, Dan. Obviously, the coaching change was made last week from Fred Hoiberg to Jim Boylan, and management at that time talked about needing more accountability, talked about needing a better culture. So management might have one answer for that. As far as where the current mess started, it started really from the first day Jim Boylan took over from Fred Hoiberg. Jim Boylan not only is coaching to his true personality, but also feels emboldened by a mandate, an organizational mandate given to him by ownership and management to change the culture. And so he is being confrontational. He's being direct. He's being tough. He's demanding a lot of players, and those players push back late Saturday night with talk of a possible boycott of Sunday's practice, which ultimately never materialized, but as you mentioned, gave us plenty to write about.
Okay, the biggest issue they have is what, being pushed too hard?
Well, the biggest issue they have is they're not a very good basketball team. Let's start there. Obviously, they're in the second season of a full rebuild following the June 2017 Jimmy Butler trade. They've been incredibly injured. Critical core players, Chris Dunn, Bobby Portis, Lauri Markkanen, Denzel Valentine were all out. Markkanen has since come back. Portis and Dunn returned last night. So let's start there. They're not a good team. They're also a young team. They don't know how to win in the NBA. They're trying to navigate a full rebuild, and they're not obviously healthy, so that does not help matters. And then, they obviously with the coaching change, that was a tumultuous situation. They enjoyed playing for Fred Hoiberg. He's a player-friendly coach. He gives players a lot of freedom. And Jim's got a very different style. And, Jim was the associate head coach. It's not like they don't know him. But as we all know, when you move from that head, one chair over from the lead assistant to the head coach, you're in a different role now. And players, not all players, but obviously some players are initially chafing at that approach.
Who's the leader of this team?
Well, when you're talking about a young basketball team, that's to be determined. I mean, obviously you'd like it to be one of your core players that you're building around, like a Zach LaVine or a Lauri Markkanen, but those are young guys trying to figure it out. Zach took a very vocal role in that team meeting, so that's probably a good sign. You've got the sage old veteran Robin Lopez, who doesn't play as much anymore, but has seen a little bit of everything in his decade plus in the NBA, so he's obviously helped navigate this situation a little bit. And look, I know this has created a lot of headlines and a lot of talk, which is why I'm speaking to you, and it's fun. But I will say that, the team is in a better place moving from Saturday night to Sunday night. I mean, if you're firing off a group text exchange talking about boycotting practice, and then ultimately you have a 2-hour team meeting and guys are yelling at each other and getting everything out in the open, you can't help but be in a better place. Now it's just obviously got to take hold on the basketball court.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.